This anime clearly shows that these two are made for each other. I'm talking about the second season of How to Become Ordinary, 12 episodes, school life, mystery, and a novel adaptation. Now, before I start talking about the second season, let me just give you a quick opinion of the first season since I don't have a review of it in this channel. Now, I really love the first season. I really like the mysteries uh, and the story structure and everything. I really like it. If I were going to give it a score, it would have been an 8 out of 10. And there was just something about the first season that really tickled my fancy, and I really enjoyed it. Now, for the second season, sadly, the second season I enjoyed it a little less from the first season. And the reason why is because unlike the first season, that some of the mysteries were episodic. In the second season, it's mostly like two big mysteries. The first one taking the first 7 episodes, and the second one taking the last 5 episodes. And the first 7 just didn't work for me. The first 7 episode with the arsonist mystery, the fireman mystery, it just didn't work. And the reason why is because we shifted from main character, because in the first season we have Yuki and Yogoro as the main characters, but in the second season, and this for the first 7 episodes, we have Takahiko being the main focus. Now, yes, we have Yugoro appearing here and there throughout the episodes, and we have Yuki that is now Takahiko's girlfriend, but I just didn't like Takahiko. He was super rash, super loose, very irresponsible when it comes to his responsibilities in the newspaper club. I just didn't like it. He was too fast, too loose, and not necessarily uh, savvy enough to be a proper leader for the newspaper club. And it's just not me, because even Yuki was actually helping Takahiko behind the scenes, because Takahiko was very obsessed with the arsonist, even nicknaming him the fireman. But I'm just going to stick with arsonist. So Takahiko was obsessed with the arsonist, writing about it in the newspaper, in the school newspaper, and trying, not trying, but guessing the similarities of which places is the arsonist going to strike. And is, instead of simply saying, okay, I found the pattern of where the arsonist is going to most likely strike, and it's just simply telling, hey, the police, okay, I know that I have already proven it like 3 times throughout the weeks, that this is the place where the arsonist is going to strike, so he knows. Instead of just simply telling the police, no, he is obsessed of writing about the arsonist, and even later trying to capture the arsonist himself for self glory, trying to put in the newspaper that, oh, I was the one that guessed everything correctly, I was the one that even captured the arsonist. He just was in on it for self glory. And like I said, Yuki, who is now Takahiko's girlfriend, the only reason why he even got that far is because Yuki was helping him behind the scenes. If it wasn't for her, he wouldn't even gotten half the way there in trying to capture or write about the arsonist. But Takahiko did something to Yuki that she just couldn't forgive. Now, this is different in culture, the way that a boy girl relationship between here and Japan, but the reason why Yuki cannot forgive Takahiko is because Takahiko tried to kiss Yuki without her permission. And when heard the reason, I was, who asked permission for one to kiss their own girlfriend. That's just that's not something that we guys do, but different cultures, maybe out there in Japan is most common for at least the first kiss or something to ask for permission. But at least where I'm from, we don't do that. And look, yes, he tried to kiss her without her permission, but let me just say, as a little bit of defense against her, because that attempted kiss came out of nowhere. There was nothing in the conversation that they were having. There was no mood set. There was nothing that was said to indicate that she was waiting for a kiss or anything. So I honestly have no idea what was his trigger in thinking, oh, this is a good moment for me to kiss you. I have no idea what he was thinking about trying to kiss her in that particular moment. So that's a little bit of a defense against Yuki, but honestly, I still think that she went a little bit too far because later on she reveals that hey, you're an incompetent guy. The only reason that you got so far was because I was helping you behind the scenes. You are inferior in every way possible. Get out of my sight. You're not even worth the air you're breathing. Obviously, I'm exaggerating, but she was very crushing him very emotionally. So, and at least the part of her helping behind the scenes and about him being stupid and not having gotten so far without her help, that part is true. But she went a little bit extra trying to make him misunderstand the situation. Look, just I don't want to spoil at least the first the mystery of the fire the arsonist case, so I'm just going to end there with at least with the first arc. Now before I move on to the second arc being the hit and run case, let me just say that after Yuki and Takahiko, obviously they broke up after she demolished him emotionally. She decides to Yuki to get back together with Yugoro and become boyfriend and girlfriend again after, because after we watching just how Takahiko was such an inferior and a mess of a pathetic mess of a guy, she decided, hey Yugoro, you're the next best thing, because she's talking about, okay, I'm pretty sure that in a couple of years in university or when I enter the workforce or at some point of my life I'm going to find somebody better, but for now you're the next best thing. And let's just not kid ourselves, after watching the first and second season, these two are obviously made for each other. Though get out of here saying that he's the next best thing. That's stupid talk. If for somebody so smart, she's that in when it comes to love life, stupid. But let's just move on to the next arc, the hit and run arc, or the hit and run case, where we have our main character who is now properly in his proper place as the main character, Yugoro. He got hit and run, but obviously by a car, not raccoon, a car. And this his whole situation being in a hospital, it activated a flashback of 3 years in the past where Yogoro was investigating a hit and run case from an upperclassman, and while trying to solve who was the cause of the hit and run 3 years in the past, he met Yuki, and the two of them decided to work together because she was in it for revenge. Because even though she wasn't the one that was hit and run, she wasn't hit by the car. She was still very startled. She jumped out of the way. She got some cuts and bruises rolling away on the hill, avoiding the car. So she's in it for revenge, and Juguro is in it for self-satisfaction, wanting to catch the criminal. So both of them join forces together. Shows the way how the two of them, it shows the way that these two of them met for the first time. naval forces trying to catch the criminal together, and the whole hit and run case from 3 years in the past have meaning for the hit and run case of the present, because the two of them have a connection, and the case from 3 years in the past is going to help to solve the hit and run case from the present time. And like I said, Yuki and Yugoro, once these two became proper, the main characters and the main focus away from Takahiko, because like I said, he was a mess in the first arc. But with Yuki and Yugoro being properly front and center as the main characters, it was such good to have them back, because because seriously, the first arc a slap with Yuki and Yogoro with their dynamic, with the same writing style and formula from the first season. And from that point onward, I think it was episode 7 when the two of them became again the main focus. From episode 7 and onwards to episode 12, I began to enjoy the anime more, because like I said, first arc a slap. So let me just end it here. Now, sadly, because Takahiko did quite a lot of damage as a temporary main character, I have to give this anime a lower score than I would have given it from the first season. Like I said, first season an 8 out of 10. So the second season, From How to Become Ordinary, is a 6 out of 10. Yes, it was a big mistake making Takahiko the focus of the first arc. It would have been so much better if it was mostly 50-50, or if it was Yuki and Yogoro seeing mostly their perspective, and being Takahiko being the one that was in the his happenings were happening very briefly in the background, or a couple of scenes of him here and there. But let me just stop harping on him so much, and how he didn't work. So let me just end it here and say, have a good day, have a good night, wherever you're from, and see you next video.